Hello and welcome to the On the Knob pod in association with ocnsports.co.uk. Make sure you go over there to check out all the best bookmakers offers available. We're back after a slightly extended hiatus, but we are back for a meeting that is very close to our heart as the York Ebor meeting from Wednesday to Saturday, 4 days of top class action on the Knavesmire. Paul, I'm going to come to you first of all because me and yourself, we've been there a couple of times, and what a meeting it is. It's probably the best one for us, isn't it, in the land?
Yeah, it's definitely my favourite one. So you try to get every year, didn't we? Obviously, about the last 2 or 3 years, we haven't been able to, but so I was going to try and get up this year, but prices thwarted me for the hotels. But we have many a night on the Micklegate cobbles before and after racing, so yeah, always look forward to it.
Good chat with Graham Cunningham as well once, wasn't there?
In the hop pub, many a famous fight from the racing world in there.
And Henry, favourite memory for you from the Ebor meeting?
It's a tough one, to be fair. There's so many, isn't it? It's just a great week, but probably Roaring Lions winning the Jubbmonts. There was certainly a few doubters that day, and it proved them wrong, and it was a horse quite close to my heart, won me a bit of money. So from recent memory, I'd have to go with Roaring Lion, but just echo what Paul said, really, it is a great week. Unfortunately, I've never actually been, but I'd say it's top of my list at the moment in terms of meetings I'd love to go. I was considering this week myself, but hotel prices are ridiculous, aren't they? I was looking at train journeys, but I think 3 hours there and then 3 hours back is probably just a little bit too much for the one day. But looking forward to sitting in front of the telly or getting in the pub and watching the 4 days there, really.
I agree, I would. Right, lads, we'll get into the action then, starting on the Wednesday. And there's no best place to start, is there, than the 3:35, which is the Jubbmonts International Stakes over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Disappointing that St. Mark's Basilica won't be running, unfortunately, picked up a slight injury. It was really exciting to see the Eclipse winner. But we do have Aidan O'Brien supplementing Love in it. Mishra, you come favourite, 7-4. Love, 9-4. Could be a great little battle this. Pabs, is it between those two protagonists, or do you fancy something else?
No, just I must preface it's a race that I'm more than happy to watch rather than I haven't really got a strong opinion on it, despite it being the feature of the week. If it was to have a bet, it'd actually be alcohol free. For me, it's a toss up between Air and Snowfall, who's been the standout 3-year-old filly of the year. You can make strong arguments for either. I'd probably lean with alcohol free. In this race, it's what is it? Does he say quality over quantity? And it's another example here. Just with alcohol free, just getting a couple of the allowances. But going up in trip as well is the big question. That's what's going to put me off having an actual bet on it. As I say, Love can easily bounce back. You can't write it off one because she's being basically pretty much faultless otherwise. Mishrif's a bit of a strange. He looked to have the King George wrapped up. It was just a question of when he was going to pass a day. But as we all know, he didn't get past. He's obviously a very good animal, but he has flattered to deceive a bit in the UK. Most of his biggest successes have been overseas. I think he's only won once or possibly twice over here, and it's 7-4 in the field. Say not on quantity but on quality. I don't think you could be touching it 7-4. As I say, won't be having a big bet, but if I did, it'd probably have a little swing on alcohol free for Balding.
Henry, on alcohol free is a funny one because after she was beaten in the Guineas, people are saying, "Oh, get her in the Commonwealth Cup," and now we've got her going over 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Do you think she'll get the trip?
Honestly, I don't think she will. No. I listened to an interview after the race with Oshie and Murphy, and they were talking about next targets for her, and I think he was preferring to go down and trip because they were looking at the Spring Cup at Haydock over 6 furlongs, a race that Murphy seemed pretty keen for her to run in. And when there was mention that the owner had said that the Jubbmont could be the next target, he looked a bit shocked, to be honest, and he couldn't wait for the interview to end. And good on the connections for giving it a go, but especially with the addition of Love now instead of St. Mark's Basilica, I think they're going to try and make this a strong strong test of stamina, really, because with Love, we know she stays further. With St Mark's Basilica, he's proven over the mile. He won big 2-year-old races last season, didn't he? And I think he would have maybe went a bit steadier from a pace angle if it was him. But I think with the addition of Love now instead, I wouldn't be surprised if she makes the running, to be honest. And I don't think Alcohol Free will stay this trip. In regards to Misreef, he is solid, isn't he? What can you say? He always seems to run a good race, especially when he gets his favourite decent ground. As long as too much rain doesn't fall at York, the forecast looks a bit hit and miss at the moment. He is a worthy favourite on what we've got to go on, but I'd rather chance one in this. It's a bit of a pity, really, that there's obviously only 7 runners, but Mo Hafev for me, I think there was excuses last time out, and before that, he had looked a really good 3-year-old. It was quite disappointing that he didn't get to take his place in the Derby. There was a bit of an interesting interview, wasn't it, with William Haggis before that race, and I think deep down he was disappointed that Mo Hafev didn't get his chance in the Derby, but I'm hoping he can make up for it here. Like I said, I think Love will set a pretty strong pace, and Crowley will have his horse held up near the back, and hopefully he can cover a late run and show his useful turn of foot. I think he has got a lot of speed, and I think he does stay the trip, which is with some of his market rivals. You've got Alcohol Free, we know, has got that turn of foot. Whether she'll stay 1 mile 2 furlongs, personally, I don't think so. Where I think with Mo Hafev, definitely proven over the trip, and I just think he's probably the value in what is a wide open renewal, especially now St Mark's Basilica won't be running. So it's not my strongest selection of the week by any means, but it's Mo Hafev for me from a value point of view.
2 tentative selections.
It is funny with Alcohol, because I was moaning that he didn't put it in the Commonwealth Cup, because I thought that would have been perfect for her. And now where I am fancying it a little bit for 1 mile 2 furlongs, so he would have said that back in June that I'd be back in Alcohol Free in a June month. So couldn't have seen it at all, but say allowances, and then it gets make it interesting. So at the prices 11 to 2s, say we're worth a chance.
Tentative selections, then we'll go on to the 225 then, lads, which is over 7 furlongs, the Acomb Stakes, a Group 3 for 2-year-olds, and currently 9-4 favourite, joint favourites are Dubarry Legend, Hugo Palmer, and Noble Truth for Charlie Appleby. Just down a little bit, just slightly, 5-2 is Eras for Richard Hannon. Henry, I'll come to you first on this one. It's a tight betting heat, isn't it? Who just edges it for you?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? These 2-year-old races, we've never really got much to go on, have we? The favourite, Dubarry Legend, only ran once, but it was very, very impressive. Won by 5 lengths there, and showed a very useful turn of foot. From what I've heard on the grapevine, Hugo Palmer rates this horse very, very highly, and I was a little bit surprised to see him as the favourite. I can see the money coming for Noble Truth, and given connections, Charlie Appleby, 2-year-olds, especially at this time of year, he's having a fantastic season. And again, Noble Truth come on from his debut and won well last time out. Richard Hannon, master with his 2-year-olds, another one. You can't rule out. You can understand why they're so closely matched at the front of the market, and it will be interesting to see which way the market tends to go. But if I was to have a bet in the race, it will be Imperial Fighter for Andrew Bolden. Obviously having the best season he's ever had. He's got an outside chance of winning the Flat Trainers Championship, which says a lot, really, doesn't it? And with his 2-year-olds, they always tend to improve for the run. So I think it was quite taken that Imperial Fighter managed to win on debut. Because, like I said, he's bound to come on from that run. And I was at 7-1 in a 5-horse race like this, given the season Andrew Bolden's having. He's having success with his 2-year-olds. We've seen the likes of Berkshire Shadow, who won well at Ascot, and he's banging in the winners right, left, centre. And from a little source, I've heard that Imperial Fighter's the best 2-year-old in the yard. So given the fact you're getting 7-1 for a Group 3 after winning on debut, like I said, we haven't got much form to go on. And I think from a value point of view, again, that 7-1 should be snapped up at this stage.
Yeah, I always like horses that win first time out of Goodwood. I think it's a tricky track, isn't it? It teaches horses a lot, even if they don't win, if they run first time out of Goodwood. Paul, who do you like in the race?
It's literally echo everything Henry said. I even made a note about the favourite. I think Noble Truthful ends up going off favourite. As you say, it is a complete guess. Well, not a complete guess, but the 5 runners, they've had 8 runs between them in total, and one horse is the outsiders had 3 of them, so there's not a lot to go on form-wise. So that's why, as I say, I come down on Imperial Fighter. Say Noble Truth, I think I'll end up going off 5. I can't see why else is going to turn that form around from when they met last time. I thought, say, Noble Truth had it covered, so I'd be surprised if they flip-flop positions. Dubai Legend, he was smashed up on the betting in there. I remember watching it, and he said there was a ton of money for it. Went off really short, but they knew as he bolted up, they're going away. So he's going to be a danger, but say that race, it was only a Class 5. And as I say, literally at the prices, 5-runner race, 7-1 Imperial Fighter. I'd argue, say the race he won was the strongest, was Class 2 at Goodwood. He won going away. So he can't really make head or tail of the form because not a lot's come out of it since. But I can see it being played late, sweeping late. Baldwin's flying. I think he's just under about 30% at the moment. So a bit of a guess, but a half-educated guess. And I say just at the from a price standpoint, he was my dart as well.
Superb stuff, lads. Well, we'll go on to the 3 o'clock for the final race that we preview on the Wednesday, which is the Group 2 Great Voltigeur Stakes class 3-year-old. So we know a little bit more about these horses, don't we? Kamari, you put him 9-4 favourite. High Definition for Aidan O'Brien 4-1, being so disappointing, hasn't he, this season? Ryan Moore sticks with him rather than riding Sir Lucan, also for the Ballydoyle team, who Frankie Dettori's on board, also 4-1. Third Realm 11-2 for Roger Varian, and it's 10-1 bar. Paul, it's a little trial for the St. Ledger. This is probably the last trial of the season before the final classic of the campaign. Who do you like in this?
I don't think the winner of the St. Ledger is going to come out of it unless one of the O'Brien pair do something that we haven't seen. Maybe Sir Lucan. But that's actual bet on here. It's going to be, again, it's another tentative one, as most of it is in day one, but I'll have a go on Third Realm for Varian. He's another trader in form. I think he's over the 30% mark, so he's taken along nicely the last couple of weeks. 40 was unlucky in the Gordon at Goodwood. I don't think he would have beat the winner, admittedly, as he had flown and say just done them. Possibly he could argue it cost him second. Say he got interfered, there was no gap, and then he got carried out a little bit. Like you say, it wouldn't have got to the winner, but it would have been a little bit closer. Didn't disgrace himself in the Derby. So he was fifth, so say we're in the worst performance. But I think he has got the standout form because say he beat Adair in the Lingfield Derby trial. Obviously, Adair turned the form around in no uncertain terms in the Blue Ribbons event, the Epsom Derby. But say if looking at that, you've got to say that's the real standout one piece of quality form. So with a clearer run, I think say he's got an outstanding chance. Surprised Ryan Moore chose High Definition because he's looked as slow as a boat. I don't know what's happened with him. Sir Lucan looked the strongest one of the O'Brien contingent, so I'm surprised. But obviously he's in the yard daily, so he's forgotten more than I know. But it just looked a strange one because Sir Lucan was absolutely tanking on. I think he got past third round, but as I say, my boy's versatile on ground. He's won on them all kinds before. What is he, about 6-7-1 there? So he'll do for me to round off the tentative day one.
Henry, you tentative again on this, or have you got something that you're sweet on?
Basically, just echoing what Paul said. I'm on Third Realm myself. I think he's the standout selection in this race. As Paul said, he's beat Adair in the Lingfield Derby trial. The Derby was a bit of a funny race, so you're happy to. I mean, like Paul said, he come fifth. It wasn't a disgraceful effort, but you're happy to put a line through that. And then he had a little break before that run the Gordon Stakes at Goodwood, and Varian did say that he expected him to obviously win the race, but he did think he would come forwards for the run and improve as the season went on. So I think that was encouraging. in regards to the favourite, Kamari, he hasn't done much wrong, has he? Obviously beaten on debut, but he's won well his last 2 starts, and he was impressive beating Wordsworth last time out, I thought. That was over 1 mile 6. He's dropping back to 1 mile 4 here on York, which is more of a speedier track, and he just might be vulnerable to Third Realm's 10 a foot, because Third Realm looks certainly speedier. So especially if they go a slow gallop, I think Third Realm would go past. In regards to the O'Brien horses, I think Sir Lucan was just ridden to pick up the pieces last time out in the Gordon Stakes, and like Paul said, I think the form will be reversed there. High Definition has done nothing to justify being 4-1, but it is quite eye-catching that Moore has obviously picked him for whatever reason. One thing we didn't touch on earlier on was Aidan O'Brien's form at the moment is pretty shocking, to be honest. He's 3 winners from his last 31 runners for a stable of that quality, and if you look through them, a lot of them aren't coming second and third. A lot of them are finishing closer to last, which would have to be a little bit worrying going into a meeting like this. You'd probably want to see 1 or 2 of them run well before you put your hard in cash on. So at this stage, it's Third Realm for me, same as Paul.
Well, he's been picking the same horses as each other in the past couple of races. Have you got the same best bet of Wednesday? Henry, start with you first.
Yeah, I'll probably go with Imperial Fighter. Like I said, just from a price perspective, I think in a 5-horse race, you're getting 7-1 for a horse that is arguably the best 2-year-old in the yard. And like I touched on earlier on, they always tend to improve for that debut effort. So I'd say my best bet on day one will be Imperial Fighter.
And Paul, your best bet?
Yeah, as I say, not a strong. If I have to come to me, it'll probably be Third Realm and the Voltigeur.
Superb, lads. We'll go on to the Thursday then, and we've been tentative on the Wednesday. Can you get listeners off to a cracking start, because we have a very strong favourite in the Lava Stakes, the 150 for 2-year-old fillies. It's a Group 2 affair, and Sandrine, the unbeaten Sandrine, for Andrew Bolden, is 7-4 at the minute. Paul, banker or blowout?
It's a banker. Again, it's another Andrew Bolden horse for me, but this one's solid. Say you can get off to a flyer on the first day, throw it in a double, treble, whatnot. It's been excellent. You can't pick a fault in it. Say it's won in big fields. It's won on all grounds. It's got 2 of its main rivals, Hello You and Desert Dreamer. It's got them both held. Say fine on every ground. Say 7-4. You're not going to get rich off it, so throw it in a double with something. Provide no hard luck stories. I think she'll win. I think she'll win handsomely. She's been superb. It's not something I'd always advocate, short price in a big-ish field, but I think it's fair and justified here. Can't fault it. It's a banker for me.
Fair price for you, Henry, 7-4, given that she has beaten a couple of her rivals already?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it is a fair price, but in a 2-year-old race, we see form get reversed quite often, don't we? And I'd probably prefer to chance Hello You reversing that form, especially because you could probably get an each way thief price on Hello You, really. I think it's around 9-2, 5-1 in places. That run last time out, it was obviously beaten just over 2 lengths by what's going to be the favourite, and Hello You just ran 2-3 that day. I think you can put a line through that effort. It pulled hard from the start, was hanging badly in the last furlong, so I think you can sort of draw a line through that. Hopefully she learns from it and she can put her best foot forward today. And I just think from a price perspective, I don't think there's much between them, and I can't see Hello You being out the frame. I think it's interesting that she's obviously changed stable. She's left Ralph Beckett, and now she's with David Loughran, which is a bit of a strange move, but I'm happy Ross O'Ryan keeps the ride, because he's a jockey I do rate very highly, and he's having a fantastic season himself. He's obviously same connections. I've done well with Go Bears Go, so hopefully he can deliver them another winner here.
I think they fell out, didn't they, the owners of that Ammo Racing, the Kia Jura Bachian. probably made the surname, but I was reading it, they had an argument there with Beckett, and he pulled most of the horses out, so I don't think it's a positive anyway, because I rate Beckett highly, so
it's not like Ralph Beckett to get into an argument, is it?
I know, don't forget it's Rafe as well, don't pronounce it Ralph.
Oh, there we go, exactly, there's one of the arguments, yes, God love him, but yeah. Mine's just purely from a price perspective. I don't think there's much between them, and like I said, we see a lot of these 2-year-old forms get reversed week in, week out. We seen it the other day in Ireland, didn't we, with the Phoenix Stakes, everything changing. So yeah, I just think I'd rather take the chance and back it each way. But again, I've got stronger selections really as the week go on, so I wouldn't put you off following Paul, and if he's as confident as he sounds.
Get on the forecast then if they both fancy them. Right, lads, there won't be much argument, unlike the Rafe Beckett saga in the 335, I'm sure, which is the Yorkshire Oaks for fillies and mares, Group 1 affair, and Snowfall is the short price favourite. Henry, it's a penalty kick, isn't it, before she goes and runs in the arse a little bit later in the season?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just a case of sitting back and watching her strut her stuff. I think, like I mentioned, obviously I know Brian is out of form, but I think even if Snowfall's 70%, judged on what we've seen this season, she'd kick these out the way. Obviously, doing this on a Monday night, I don't think there's any way Wonderful Tonight does show up. I can see she is jocked up with Buick on board, but I think that's just because he'd rather anyway. There'd have to be a massive downpour for that to even be considered. So yeah, I think it's just a case of she's no better 2 to 5 Snowfall, but you can't see anything beating it, can you?
Paul, at this stage of the season, Snowfall, we know the 3-year-old fillies with the allowance they get can be difficult to beat in the arc. Do you think that 10 to 3 at the minute is a fair price for it to go and do it at Paris Longchamp?
Yeah, well, she's blown them away, hasn't she? So I think there's another filly though that's well, not a dark horse, but Tanawa. I think she would be my bet at the arc. 100 to 30, it's obviously fair given how much she's done, but not 100% sold on the Oaks form. So 100 to 30, I'll be looking elsewhere, and that'll be Tanawa. I thought she was mightily impressive on her comeback the other week. So yeah, it'd be the Aga Khan for at Weld would be my arc bet at this point.
And very quickly, just you, Henry, your arc bet at this point, would it be Snowfall, or would you be waiting to see what she does at York?
Wonderful Tonight for me. I think we'll get soft ground in October come the arc, and I think she's just a superstar when she gets cut in the ground, and she's getting better and better with each run. So Wonderful Tonight for me.
Okay, lads, well, we'll go on to the Friday then, which is another superb day of action. We'll start with the 225, which is the Lonsdale Cup Stakes, a Group 2 affair raced over 2.5 miles. And we see Stradivarius return to action after his defeat in the Ascot Gold Cup. Didn't run at York, and Trushan fully profited from that. Stradivarius, your current even money favourite. Spanish Mission, 11 to 4. Trushan, 3 to 1. I suppose Trushan needs the rain, doesn't it, Paul, to repeat what he would maybe?
Yeah, I was just saying my notes there that because I'm going to be this. I promise this will be the last boarding course I'll tip as well, because I think this is the 4th one. But yeah, it's Spanish Moon. Now it's got a I think it's about 25 lengths. It's got a find on Trushan from the Champions Day in October. But obviously, if you can throw that out for, because it's run basically on national hunt ground, so say Trushan loves to get it so stuck in. Spanish Moon's the opposite, needs a bit of needs it like a road to be at its best. So pretty confident it can turn it around with Trushan. As I say, I was looking at the prices. I thought it's hard to win with, but I thought it'd be a little bit bigger than the 3 to 1, 7 to 2. But as I say, it is what it is. Unfortunately, not my strongest bet on the first day. And to be fair, Stradivarius could easily blow them away. I don't think it's as I say, if it doesn't rain for Trushan. There's not a lot in depth. Santiago Stradivarius, sorry, he's 4 at York, so he obviously loves it there. But say just going off its last 2 runs, I know it won first time out, but say made halfway of it to beat Ocean Wind, and then obviously the Gold Cup. I think Frankie, when he realised the race was gone, he didn't give it too much of a hard time, but there's have to be a little bit of a worry. His swagger just didn't seem to be there. So yeah, I just thought it had a little bit more value. Spanish Moon. It's 1 here. I think it beat Santiago. It's not obviously Santiago's been another one that's flattered to deceive, as say he had a promising season last year. But yeah, for me it's say not my strongest, but it'll be the last Voltigeur. So for me, 7-2. I'll say won't be my strongest play, as I've said, but that'll be my play here. But again, Stradivarius could you can't knock his course record there, 4
If there's a trainer to get Stradivarius right or a horse to bounce back, I beg your pardon, Henry, it is John Gosden. Was this run in the Ascot Gold Cup that bad, or because there was so much hype and publicity around him going to make history that maybe people have just got a little bit caught up and not maybe given the credit that he deserved for finishing, a respectable 4th?
Yeah, it was a strange one when a lot of people were blaming traffic problems, but for me, I don't think Frankie would have been happy with the position Stradivarius was in anyway. I don't think he must have been travelling as well as he normally would. I don't think he would have had him on the rail stuck behind a wall of horses. Personally, I just don't think he was the same horse. And I mean, you look at his record, he hasn't had many ones next to his name recently. Obviously, he's been running in high quality races, but he's 7 now. He's, eventually horses aren't machines. Eventually they are gonna hit the wall. And I know Paul's obviously put up Spanish Mission as a tentative selection, but for me, Spanish Mission's quite a strong selection. I think his effort in the Gold Cup himself, Spanish Mission, where he obviously finished ahead of Stradivarius in 3rd. I don't think the 2 mile 4 is ever going to suit Spanish Mission. I think he's better over 1 mile 6, 2 miles, because he's not a slow horse. And I think we've seen at that victory here at York back in May, where he beat Santiago. He went steady and he was still held up, and he still powered clear over past them and won going away by 3 lengths. And he's going to probably get similar good grounds here again. All right, it's back up to 2 mile, but that's definitely no concern. I just think he's the solid one. He's had a really good season. He's running well. He's got a win at the course, and I just think Stradivarius, even money, you can't really be back on that, given so many unknowns. And will Truciani even run? I don't think he will, personally. I don't think that enough rain's going to fall. So I think the 7-2 for Spanish Mission is one of the best bets of the week.
It's a good point about the obviously not at his best. The extreme trick at the Gold Cup 2-4, so drop down to 2 miles. Bit quicker,
especially on like a speedy track like York, and he's won here already. I think it's a great bet this week, Spanish Mission.
2 shouts for Spanish Mission, and we're going to do 3 o'clock, which is over 6 furlongs, the Gimcrack Stakes, Group 2 affair for 2-year-olds, and it's Richards, Hannon and Al Shakab Racing that dominate the betting at the minute. Armour and Lusail currently 3-1 and 10-3 respectively. Berkshire Shadow 9-2, the Royal Ascot winner for Andrew Balding, and 7-1 Bar. Henry, we'll come to you first on this one. Have you solved this puzzle? It looks like it might be a little bit tricky. A couple more runners than the other 2-year-old races, perhaps, in this.
Yeah, looking at it from an anti-post perspective, it is a tricky one. Will both hand horses turn up? It's the first question you've got to ask yourself. Looking at the betting, both priced up 3-1. I don't think Hannon would be scared of running them both, to be fair. But I'd rather back Berkshire Shadow. Again, I think this is the Andrew Baldwin fan club today, but he's another one, won well on debut, and and like I said earlier on, they always tend to improve for the debut efforts, the Balding horses, and he went to Royal Ascot and powered clear to win that day. Obviously, he was beaten last time out at Goodwood, but I don't think he's a horse that will appreciate cutting the ground. He just didn't seem to get going off it. He didn't have that same turn of foot we've seen on his first 2 runs, and that was obviously over 7 furlongs on soft ground. And I don't know. I'd just be happy to forgive that effort and give him another chance back here back over 6 furlongs, which he obviously won at Ascot, and he should get his favoured quicker grounds where we can hopefully see that explosive turn of foot again. So it's Andrew Bolden again for me, and it's Berkshire Shadow.
Tell you what, if you can get a bet for top trainer, then we'll be ploughing into the Bolden yards, won't we? Paul, who'd you like in this one?
Well, it was Armour, but I'm just looking at it. I don't know if it's going to go, because it's drifted a little tiny bit in the betting, and he's got Dobbs jocked up on Lusail. Now Ryan Moore was on it last time, so whether or not he's just waiting for him to see if he can ride it, might just be that. But so I'm assuming that the selection on the basis it obviously goes. But I thought he was brilliant at Goodwood, and for me it was the standout 2-year-old performance, certainly from the boys anyway. Sandrine probably being the best 2-year-old filly. Didn't disgrace himself in the Windsor Castle or Ascot, but as I say, it was the aforementioned performance at Goodwood where he made the impression. Grabbed the rail. Moore didn't really have to get serious with him at any point. A couple of shakes the reins about 2 out and he was gone. But he was travelling by far the best, so you could have called him the winner a long way out. The step up to 6 won't be a problem, granted how he finished off at the line. So if anything, it could bring out a bit more improvements. Lightly raced still, only the 3 runs. I think he's still got more to come. Gets Andy £3 as well off the main 2 market rivals, which you can't sniff at. So providing he goes, I'll be all over Armour, 7-2 to Hannon.
Seems like a bit of a bullish shout there for you, Paul. We'll go on to 3:30.
Very impressive.
I agree completely. I hope, as you say, if Ryan Moore gets on it, then hopefully we have a nice winner there. 3:35 at York, we're going to see plenty of old favourites and a couple of upcoming horses as well involved. It's the Nunthorpe Stakes, race over 5 furlongs, Group 1 affair. I'm really looking forward to this one. Swayzer, who was so impressive at Goodwood and the King George last time out, is 2-1. Golden Pal coming over for Wesley Ward's drifted a little bit. It's 5-2 after being a little bit short earlier today. I'm having a look. Winter Power, the York specialist, 4-1. Dragon Symbol, who's played bridesmaids on his past 4 outings, is 6-1. Really intriguing affair, this, Paul, isn't it? Because you've got all sorts of horses with different experiences, horses that we know tough, battle hard, and campaigners against some real upcoming and exciting horses.
Yeah, it's a cracker. This one, it's one of the races this season, innit? Say a couple of years ago, Marsha doing Lady Aurelia. Say then Acapulco when I had a decent bet on it. So it hasn't been a race that's been too good to me, but I say hopefully change it this year. The one I'm going, it's Swayzer for me. I thought she was brilliant back down to 5 at Goodwood. Granted, it was only a G2. Well, I say only, but to me, it was a grade 2 in name only. It was basically a Group 1. Yeah, Group 1 horses in there, but Tash, Blast Slippers, Dragon Symbol, Power, and she absolutely routed them. She does owe me one because I was all over it for the Commonwealth Cup. I had a decent go anti-post. Obviously, that went in the bin, and then obviously didn't back her at Goodwood. So I can't seem to catch her at the right time, even though the only one stinker she's had is when I was on. But yes, say that Goodwood race, she was fantastic. Buick nursed her into it and then come from nowhere, right down the rail and bladdered up. You've got Ward waxing lyrical again about this. Say he's never a man to dampen your confidence with his words, but like I said, I've heard it a few times. Acapulco, Lady Aurelia. So I've had fingers burnt a few times with similar ones that he sent over. You can't really take the form of them short runner races round the bend. It's had out 3 or 4 runners at Saratoga and Keeneland's round the bends. You have to take them with a pinch of salt. This is a different universe to it, and I think he's vulnerable. The last it come over here, didn't it, last year, and it was beaten by the Learjet. The Learjet hasn't really pulled up any trees, so With the 2 foreign raiders, I'd be all over the French. Same prices near enough. So far less questions than the filly's got to answer. Just one at a each way price, Kayamoro. It's decent each way sweet, and it's worth a few quid to 20. So hopefully I can get a place on that, but main bet will be Swayzer.
Yeah, Michael Dodds knows all about this race, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's unlucky with it. It go close, didn't it? It was either last year or the year before. So yeah,
It's a bit tough, wasn't it?
It was
a bit tough, yeah.
Is that what? Yeah, I'm sure it was. So yeah,
that'll
be each way poke, and said Dodds won it with Mecca's Angel. I think that was the one who beat that Acapulco when I had a decent bet on it. So yeah, hopefully Dodds can redeem one for me, land a place, and but as I say, main bet Swayzer.
Henry, with the likes of Golden Power coming over, Winter Power, might be plenty of pace up top in this race. Could set it up for Swayzer like did it at Goodwood. Really come through and travelled really well and just took up the race with relative ease.
Yeah, I took the words out of my mouth there. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think Swayzer's just going to get the perfect toe into this race with Golden Pal, Winter Power, Kuya Moro. She'll like to bowl along in front as well, and they're certainly not going to be going slow. I wouldn't be surprised if the track record goes if the ground is good to firm on Friday. But Swayzer last time out good was just so impressive. Just powered clear, won well, like Paul said, Group 2, but it was Group 2 in name, but it certainly looked like Group 1. Got Dragon Symbol, just too many 2s next to his name for me. I know he sort of got his head in front before losing it in the Stewards to Campanelli, but I think we sort of know where Dragon Symbol's at now, and I think they're just desperate to try and get that victory. They just seems to be racing in every opportunity he gets, and I personally think he tends to be slowly away, which may not be a bad thing here, but you don't want to be giving ground up in a far-furlong sprint race like this. And just think with Swayzer, obviously going places, that victory last time out, just can't get it out my head, to be honest. I was so impressed with it, and I can just see Swayzer following Golden Pal into the race, and Golden Pal will eventually be passed, I think, and I agree with Paul yet again. I think Swayzer's a great bet, considering you're getting same price, but you've got a bit more proven form with that victory at Goodwood last time out.
And with all the weight and the age she's getting, I think I'm going to have a little poke on Chipotle each way, 40-1. Holly Doyle on board. I can just see her coming up, nicking a place somehow. Back near the back, like in the Windsor Castle, come through. That'll do me. 40-1 Chipotle. Right, lads. Best bet of the day for Friday. Henry, the honour is yours.
Yeah, well, it'll be Swayzer for me in the Nunthorpe. I just think she's going to have the race run to suit perfectly. Golden Pal's going to go out like a cat, and she'll be able to pick up the pieces.
And Paul, are we going to have a nice duty double?
Yeah, I'll put Armour up in the Gimcrack. So it's like I said, the best 2-year-old performance of the season. That I thought the Goodwood. So yeah, it's hopefully he'll go 7-2 and then 5-2 with the double. So hopefully that puts some shillings in the pockets.
Indeed, good stuff, lads. Well, we're going to the final race of that. Start again. Good stuff, lads. We'll go on to the final day of the meeting, which is this Saturday, and we'll be previewing 2 races. The first one is the 3 o'clock City of York Stakes. Henry, Space Blues was slightly disappointing in the Lennox Stakes last time out of Goodwood. Can he bounce back here, do you think, for the Charlie Appleby yard?
Yeah, definitely will. I think he's probably my best bet of the week, Space Blues. I think the market vibes told us a lot last time out. It had a long break since that disappointing effort at Maidan, and it obviously opened up a short price favourite at Goodwood and just drifted. I think went up around 11 to 4, 3-1, and the money come for Creative Force. But he certainly wasn't disgraced at Goodwood. He was beaten less than a length by Kim Ross, and I think from what connections have said since the run, they were quite happy with it, and they expect him to come on from that. And I think coming back to York, where he's obviously won, and this doesn't look the deepest of races. I think even a repeat of that run at Goodwood would be certainly good enough to at least hit the frame. So with the improvements expected, I expect Space Blues to get the job done here.
About 6-4 at the minute, Paul. Is that a little bit short for you? Is there something that you think could take Space Blues on?
Yeah, like Space Blues, they've done me a few good turns, but you can definitely take it on off the back of its last 2 runs. Say this rate, I can't really, these 7 furlongs, I don't think there's a lot for, so I can't really, follow them as much. I think you've got the Prix Ferret, haven't you, on our day? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that's the only Group 1 for them over that distance, so it's not a division that I have say that I keep a massive interest in, but on this one here, I'll just say it's a dart. I'll Primo Balpio. Not too sure what the price is. So say if I'm running, the only thought of Safe Voyage, I'll go off like the clappers, give it a good toe into it. Primo Balpio returning back to the scene of it, the best performance, get a decent toe in it off the aforementioned Safe Voyage. Say she's better on quicker ground as well. So if I have to have a bet, I think that'll be closing late and possibly catch 1 or 2 of them and get up.
And the final race, lads, we'll be previewing is the 3:35 on the Saturday, which is the Ebor handicap at the minute. Live Your Dream, 7-1 for Saeed Bin Saror. Sonny Boy Listen, 8-1 for Johnny Mercer. Then we have Voltigeur, who recently won the Galway hurdle, reverting back to the flat for Willie Mullins, 10-1, 12-1 bar. Henry, we'll let you go first again on this one. Solve this puzzle. It's very difficult, isn't it? But do you think there's something thrown in here that you think is overpriced, or is it going to be one of the leading fancies?
Yeah, it's another race that's a tricky one at this stage, isn't it? Previewing out on Monday, because we don't know what's going to be lining up. In terms of a bullish selection, I'm sure you'll be able to get that on the site near the time. I'm sure there'll be an article or 2 later in the week. At this stage, it's tough. In terms of Princess Zoe, it will be interesting to see if she does come here. I know Tony Mullins hadn't decided, but I listened to an interview with him before she ran on the weekend, and he said if she didn't win, there's a good chance she'd go the Ebor because she wouldn't have the penalty. She's obviously the class horse in the race, and at 10-1, you can't really argue from an each way angle. You'd hope a little bit of rain comes. I think that with that 10-1, a lot of it is factored into whether she does show up. But if she does, if it come word in the grapevine comes out through the week that she's going there, I'd try and jump on as quick as you can. But I think Johnny Mercer's having a cracking season as well, isn't he? And Sonny Boy Liston, to me, this looks like it's been the target for a little while now. She's been running in pretty quality races. You look at, she's had 4 runs. He's had 4 runs, this season. Obviously, first time out at Nace in March, ran a quality race where she was beaten by Broome. And then she went to Chester, finished behind Japan. Won a nothing race at Limerick, and then she was obviously beaten last month by Hookham at York. And you look at them names of the winners of the races: Broome, Japan, Hookham. They are quality horses that are better than handicaps. And I just got the impression, especially with that run last time out at York, he was held up off the pace, never really got into the race. It looked like it was just a case of, right, let's get a run into him and save that mark for a big handicap. And like you said, Johnny Mercer knows the time of day. He was top quality jockey, but he's starting to be known now as a top quality trainer. He had a couple of fantastic wins recently, including that like Royal Ascot and Goodwood. So I don't see why Sonny Boy Liston can't run a big race as well. Like I said, it just stinks of this being the target for a little while.
And Paul, finally over to you. What can give us a final winner on this podcast?
Yeah, Joe, I thought Passion was interesting for the Ballydoyle. I always pay attention to Aiden's invaluable handicaps. Say, obviously, because he's got that many quality horses, he doesn't really throw many in handicaps. So I thought, say, it's obviously got group form, and then coming in here into a handicap, I thought it was interesting. Say, probably like, I don't know if it is a long-term plot, because I assume most of them are given the prizes on offer. But she's only been out once this season. That was the Curragh in June, come third. And then I don't know if they put it away for this, but it's from a 3-year-old where it gets interesting. She'll be mixing it with Tanawa and Wonderful Tonight, 2 proper Group 1 horses. Albeit didn't beat them, but wasn't disgraced by any means. Shane off 111 in the handicap. Don't think that's excessive. And obviously, if a bit of Ballydoyle money from the lads comes over, that'll be a good sign. And then there was just another interesting one about for the Gosdens. It's Humanitarian. What's interesting, it's been off since September last year, and then it's going straight into here. They're obviously not the type of guys who are going to be tilting at windmills, albeit it'll be some training performance to win an Ebor, basically after 11 months off. It's only had 6 runs, so it may just be fragile, but again, can't see them tilting at windmills, so I thought that was interesting. Passion, the main bet. But I will be keeping an eye out on Humanitarian for the 2 powerhouses, Gosden and O'Brien.
Right, lads, that is all races we were going to cover previewed. Now I want to get your best bets and next best bets for the week. So 2 picks each. Paul, first, your best bet.
May as well target the hardest race, the Ebor. I'll go Passion, 16 to 1 for the Powerhouse Connections. I'll put that up as my best bet. And then the MB, again, it'll be Armour in the Gimcrack. Just add 2 in the handicaps. I haven't gone too much great into depth with them, just because there's no prices out. But a system in the 225 on the Thursday. Hannon's won this a few times. 2-year-olds seems to target it. Say won it a couple of times. This one had multiple entries system, but he's got Dobbs jocked up on it, so it must be going here. A little bit disappointing last time, but he's got some form with Desert Dreamer, albeit Desert Dreamer always seems to find one too good. But he's a useful sort, and just with the trainer's record in it, thought system was interesting. And then just the first race on the Friday, long tradition for Saeed bin Saror. Only a handful of starts, but done it nicely enough at Chelmsford last time. Albeit didn't beat much, but I think there's maybe more to come from him. And I think he'll go close. That's the first race on the Friday.
And Henry, any more picks from you and then your best bet and your MB?
Yeah, I haven't had too much of a look as of yet, to be honest. I'm sure all will be revealed on the website in terms of any further handicap selections. And from a best bet point of view, my best bet would be Space Blues on Saturday. I know he's a short price 6 to 4, but I just can't see him beat. So get him in your doubles and trebles for the week. And in terms of a next bet, it would be Spanish Mission up against Stradivarius on Friday in the Lonsdale Cup. I just think 7 to 2. I think one horse is on the up and one horse is coming down. And like I said, I don't think there was too many excuses last time out for Stradivarius. And the drop and triple certainly suits Spanish Mission more. So it's a nice tasty double for me, them two, I think.
Brilliant stuff, lads. Well, that's our York Ebor meeting preview done. Make sure you check out otnsports.co.uk, where we'll be having tips every day from the York Ebor Festival. And there's plenty of bookmakers' offers that you can get your teeth into. Make sure if you are having a bet, gamble responsibly. Be gamble aware. If you need any more information, visit begambleaware.org. You've been listening to the On the Knob podcast, and we will see you soon. Goodbye.